Heating been on? Is it on? So all this is coming off you? The summer is over. Very good. Om. Namaste. Welcome everyone to Satsang today. Very big welcome for you, and to all the friends who are looking in today. Very big welcome, and another day we have. Another day we have to explore, because we can only do this while we have this. We can only do this exploring, looking into, while we have this, while we have the availability of the body. We can look. When the body is not here, we cannot look in this way. Another body will be there. Subtler and subtler bodies are there. But the pure truth has no body. And this you can find out while you have a body. Something inside does not have a body. It's not the body. It is not the body. But it's going to use the bodily existence to discover itself. This seems to be the beautiful challenge. I don't want to go too much into that. Much of the things I will say with words now, you will find out intuitively. Let's find out what can be found out and spend less time on what is mere discussion. Let us see if we can find something, find that thing, which actually even cannot be lost. This is the paradox, in fact. That which is cannot be lost. By whom, from whom would it be lost even? Who would lose it? Who can have it to then lose it? What a place to start. Who can have it to then say, I lost it? Even the one who loses it apparently and gains it itself is illusory. But you can only really say this with some certainty and conviction when you've done it, when it's been done. It's been clear that, yes, it's clear, clear, clear. There's a thing which is so clear that no religion, no avenue of thought can oppose it. No belief system can oppose it, if they are authentic. There is such a seeing, something so profound, that no school of thought, no discipline, no group, no philosophical outlook can challenge it, because it is not an idea. Can we discover something which is not an idea? Everything else seems to be ideas, objects and ideas. But the truth cannot be an idea. We can have an idea about truth, but truth is not an idea. And it is not an object. It is not an object that you can say, I found it. This is it. I've got the truth. It cannot be that. You may get something you call truth, but it will not be ultimate. It cannot be outside of you. It cannot be outside of you. Actually, it cannot be inside of you also. If I'm going to have to be truthful, cannot be locked up inside of you. Who are you? For truth to bury itself inside. My God, what we are going to have to see. And don't be discouraged, because even those words may seem to be, the mind will say, but what are you saying? You give us nothing to hold on to. The truth cannot be held on to. can only be discovered in its effortless reality. And you can only discover that that which you're calling yourself and that which is truth are identical. But it is not the ego. It is certainly not the ego. The ego is a development, a strain, a kind of a hybrid. It's not the real thing. How did I get onto that subject now? So, along today, for those people, I've seen some faces. I'm getting a bit more used to some of the faces where people not living here. And I'm inviting you into this, to participate in this, not discussion, but an exploration. But not to be an explorer, but to explore, to find the thing which no one can own. Until somebody comes up, I'm going to just look at some of the notes and so on that come for my attention. I've not yet read them or looked at them. Okay. Hi there. If somebody can get my glasses in the box outside. Somebody outside maybe, no. Hi there. I understand Muji as limited time and probably would not be able to answer this question. I'm doing okay with this now. Would not be able to answer this question for me. So I am wondering if you could answer. If you could answer. Okay. This is not really my glasses, but they work if I do something like this. And now they're getting steamed up. See, look, I just came out of the shower. That's why I'm a little late. And now my eyes are steaming. Okay. I am pretty new to the path of inquiry, and so there are some things I am unsure of. Is prayer for assistance in my meditation periods something that is okay? So they're asking, is prayer? Okay, it doesn't work. This works better. It's the steam, not the...
Okay.
Let's see if I can read faster. Is prayer for assistance? Can you see I'm getting all misty? Actually, the truth should make you like that. Actually, is prayer for assistance in my meditation periods something that is okay? Is it possible to ask Ramana or Muji to assist in the facilitation of my awakening, even if I've never met Muji? Are these calls heard? Can I consider Muji my teacher if I've only watched him on YouTube? These may be silly questions. There's a question mark also there. If you are able to answer any of these questions, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, Tara. Okay. Okay, we're coming around to you, Tara. Let's try again now. So the person wants to... Can you see me misting up or what? Yeah. I'm really not hiding or nothing. I am pretty new to the path of inquiry, and so there are some questions I'm unsure of. Is prayer for assistance in my meditation period something that is okay? Yes, it is. It is okay to seek. Is it possible to ask Ramana or Muji to assist in the facilitation of my awakening, even if I've never met Muji? Sure you can, in fact. If you're not relating to Muji or Ramana as persons, as bodies, and really on some intuitive level you sense that you're speaking to the beingness, then of course this is okay. And are these calls heard? Yes, they are heard. If they are genuine somehow, if they are genuine, then some response will come. And there are people who know this experience. That is not some kind of fantasy. If your call is genuine, then genuinely some response will come. You see. Can I consider Mooji my teacher if I've only watched him on YouTube? Why not? Many people have. You consider Jesus Christ your teacher. You have seen him physically. You have seen Prophet Muhammad. Krishna have you seen? In fact, some people can see. Krishna can appear also to my own master. Also, he was so in love with Krishna in the form of Gopala, Govinda, Gopala, that Krishna would appear to him and they would play together, in fact. Now some people, they say, but this is nonsense. It is not nonsense. They had that relationship, and for a very long time, until maybe one time I'll explain what happened. No, I can do it now. Then one time when first Papaji went to meet Sri Ramana Maharshi, and you want to hear a bit more of the story? I can tell a little bit, yeah, because so he had this awakening experience when he was 8 years old, my master. But also he was grew up in very devotional environment, and he had such a love for Lord Krishna in the form of Gopala, and they had this relationship with Lord Krishna. And also Rama and Sita, these are beings who have left their body thousands of years ago, actually. It says Lord, I think Krishna was 5,000 years ago. Rama was, I think, 7,000 years. Maybe somebody can verify these, who studied these things. Anyhow, they were not then in their physical actual being. And he had a relationship with them. So what happened was that years later, as he was growing up, he had this great fascination that he wanted to meet someone who had met God. He wanted to meet somebody who had met God. And in India, many sadhus you see almost in every. Some now you don't see them in any city. So he was accustomed to seeing these wandering monks, and he would ask them, "Have you seen God?" And none of them would really satisfy his question. They would say, "Yes, God is," and start to give some philosophical reasoning to him. He said, "No, but have you met God?" So he grew a bit, what you may call, impatient about it, and also a bit cynical towards many of these wandering monks. And one day he met one monk, and he was asked, have you met God? He says, "No, sir, I haven't. But I know someone who has met God." "Yes, where is he?" He says, "He's in the south of India," because now he was in the north of India. "How will I find him?" In a place called Tiruvannamalai, in the south of India. One man there, he has met God, knows God. So anyway, Sri Punjaji could not go there at that time. But many years later, some time passed, and he had the opportunity to go. He was nearby. I think he was in Kerala or something. I'm not sure about this, but someplace nearby. And then he took the opportunity to go to visit Tiruvannamalai to see if he could meet the man who had met God. When he arrived in Tiruvannamalai, then he had to take a bus. Then from the bus, he took some rickshaw or some cart that took him to the ashram. Then he got to the ashram. He was quite excited. Then he walked into the ashram and he saw many people there, sitting, feeling very peaceful and reverent and so on. And he's trying, where is this man I want to meet? So then he went to a room and he wanted to go in, and the person said, you cannot just go like this. The Maharshi is resting, you cannot just go. But he insisted, I want to see him. When he finally saw Sri Ramana Maharshi, he was very shocked. My God! Because what he saw was the same sadhu who he had met in the north, who say, I know the man who can help you, who knows God. The same one was sitting on the sofa, like this, you see. And he thought, look at that. Huh? You also are a big fraud, you know. What a big joke. Very funny, very funny guy. Huh? You are the one who met God. Okay, very good. So he had this very cynical attitude. The fact is that Ramana Maharshi had never left the south of India. Never been in the north. You see, like that. So anyway, Papaji had asked him, came and asked him a little bit, first time, have you met God? Have you seen God? So Sri Bhagwan, Sri Ramana told him, God is not an object that anybody can see. God is the subject, you see. And that hit him very strong. He's not an object. He is not the one that can be seen. He is the one that sees. Then this was shocking. But somehow he was still a bit annoyed. He was not satisfied. Like that. Then he went off around the mountain by himself, Sri Punjaji, and he sat in a cave. Even to this day you can go there in Tiruvannamalai and found a cave that Papaji sat in this cave. And he was determined, somehow, to come to fulfillment of his quest without Ramana's help. But after a few months he was a bit tired. And just before leaving Tiruvannamalai, he said, I make one more visit to him. Then he told Sri Ramana, when he met him, he was showing off. He says, I have met God. You don't know what God. I have met God. I used to play with God. You see. So Ramana said to him, can you show me this God now? The one you met? And he said, no, well, at the moment I cannot do it. So he said, what use is a God who appears and disappears? You see. What use is a God? He says, but I used to play with God. And actually, when I went around the mountain to meditate with God, to kind of play with God again, because I was not satisfied with meeting you the first time, you disappoint me. Then after I found they were not coming to visit me anymore. I couldn't play with God. And Rama and Sita, I cannot play with them. They disappear. What happened? Then Sri Ramana asked him, when you came here to Tiruvannamalai, tell me how you came. He said, well, I came here, I took a train, I came here, and then I took a bus. Okay, then what happened? I took the bus to Tiruvannamalai, and then from Tiruvannamalai I took a bull cart, like a kind of, Okay, and then what happened? Then I came here, and then I just came in and I saw you. So he said, what happened is that, what happened when you took the bus? It took you to where the bus can go. As far as the bus can go, it took you there. And then it couldn't go any further. It was not scheduled to go any further. It's done its job. It's left. And then you took now rickshaw. You took the rickshaw. Then they took you to the ashram. Then they could not go any further. Then they also left. Now you're here. He said also similarly you are playing with God. It was fine for a while. You see. But then they brought you here. Your love for God brought you here. And now they've done their job now. Then they don't come anymore. Because you maybe don't have any more use for the relationship in that way. But still, Papaji was a bit adamant. He said, can you show me God or not? Then Ramana said again, he cannot be seen. The God cannot be seen. The God you're talking about is only an object, a projection of your mind. God cannot be seen because God is not an object. He's really without form. He assumes all the forms in the world, he assumes. But essentially, God is not an object. God is the pure subjectivity. God is the one seeking to see God. Something was so powerful, a realization in Papaji's mind, that somehow his mind just crashed. Then he really fell in love with Ramana Maharshi and realized that he had met his guru. After this time, his arrogance fell away and he did not want to leave Ramana's side. He didn't want to go. He didn't even want to go to the loo. He just wanted to be in his presence all the time. And then the occasion came that at that time there was some trouble, political troubles in the north of India, and Papaji had to go on to the Punjab to see his family. And he says to Bhagwan, Shri Bhagwan, I don't want to go. And Bhagwan said, but you must go to take care of your family. But I want to stay with you. No, but I'm always with you, he said. Go. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. Just to get the steam out of my glasses. So can I consider Mooji my teacher if I've only watched him on YouTube? Yes. Not only watch. Why would you, after watching someone on YouTube, ask if they can be your teacher? Must be only because something happened inside you. Something must happen inside you. Why would you ask such a thing? Can you be my teacher? Just from YouTube. Because through YouTube also, the same message, the same power, the same force that is here with us in real time, actual presence, is also being conveyed through the YouTube. It is limitless. It has no limits. You see, it's got nothing to be only in the actual physical presence. It is good. It is great. But it's also good to be able to be looking in. I remember having one conversation with someone from Australia who was feeling distressed some years ago. And we were talking in Australia, different time, almost a day difference even. But at a certain point of speaking, this lady was speaking and said, this thing, stop now. And this thing that you say, you're causing you trouble. You're looking at it. Which is greater, it or you? And somehow her mind fell into silence. And in that moment, I said to her, this place I'm speaking now. Because it was so palpable, so tangible. The force of the presence that was released in that seeing. Over thousands of miles, it made no difference. The impact is just as powerful in the seeing. The self has no limitations through like time or space. These don't affect the self at all. You see. These may be silly questions. Not silly questions, you see. A very good question. So, that's it. Okay. Anybody want to come in on this or what? I read another one? Or I should not be doing this. I really should not be doing this with living beings. You see? It should be yourself should have something to say. To come. If there's really an urge inside you on any, not just mild curiosity, but an urge for, yes, you please come. Sit here. Yeah, please take this one. Hello.
My question has something to do with the normally day. There's coming some stuff to me where I ask myself, should I investigate in this world or not? So for me it's a bit a problem when I see a hungry dog or something else as a being and need some help. So when I take him with me, then I investigate in the world, and then I go in.
Investigate or invest? What do you mean?
Invest in the
world.
yeah.
Yeah.
And my thing is then, how should I take this dog with into my home, for example, or should I let it there? Because I don't want to invest
you don't invest too much into that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, if mostly something is spontaneous, You come across some situation or person in distress or in need, and something moves naturally. If your heart is you have this heart which is open and have a loving kindness, then naturally you will go to try and alleviate the pain or distress of any being. Even a person is like an enemy to you normally. Many people in that moment, they forget all about these enemies, because it's nothing, actually very small things, because you're moved so much, and you might come in to say, do what you can. To go that step further, say, should I take this one home with me? This is something only you can know. But there cannot be any textbook answer about it. There cannot be a standard answer. Each situation is different, you see. More important question is really to find out and be fully true in your own being. Because when you are, in each situation, light will come to somehow discern what is the move to make. It's not coming from your mind. It's not coming from conditioning. It's not coming from the past. You see, it's like you are the existence itself. Not you are living life. You are life. And something, life knows how to be with life. Something is like this. Maybe in that moment, it is the right thing to do to take this dog home. Something feels completely righteous about it, like it was a person you take. Another moment, something feels, should I not, I don't know. And then you say, okay, I take it home. And then you put him in your car, and then you're getting ready and jumps out the window and he's gone about his business. Because it's happened here also for us. One time we are going out to Bula to buy wood. We saw one dog walking around the street, walking, blum, 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 looking full of fleas and stuff. We wanted to take, we take it home. And we try and treat it. Then we put him in the car, then he peed the car. And then so we put him in the back. We stopped, so okay, you stay there. We put cover, because it's very hot to put a cover over the dog and things. Went into the business we had to do, come back out. The dog is down the road going about his business. So then you feel, okay, it's like that. Don't try too much. Don't try to be too helpful. Or else sometimes you get caught up in people's story and you bring things too far. But there's no straightforward answer you can say, this is the set answer for situations like that. And it is good, because life has to be fresh. In each moment you somehow will discern what is the thing to do now. What life asks, what life compels or something through this body. You see? So not so much about the outer things. Most of the time we are in predicament because we are asking about the external things. But if you solve the internal riddle as to who we are and who has this dilemma, who is having so much trouble, who is always feeling too sorry for people or not feeling any compassion at all for someone else, and probe into a bit, you will come very quickly into profound discoveries, which are not merely mental, but they have impact internally, and you'll be so happy for the journey you make in discovering these things. This satsang is for that. And remember, as you speak, one lady I know, she was always feeling sorry for people, and actually as well. I am like that too, more in the past. No? Somebody is looking, and I'm going to my pocket, borrowing money to give them. I was so uncomfortable, maybe. But that has changed. Not that I don't do this, but not from that place. Now something else is moving. Not your mind, not your upbringing. That each time you see something, then your mind filled in the blanks and create some scenario that doesn't exist. Like that. And I saw her, she was really happy. She was always in sorrow because of someone else's trouble. It was such a painful thing. So.
Thank you.
Yes. Very often people don't need as much help as you think.
Yeah.
Please come.
quite nervous.
It's okay.
I don't really have a question, but last satsang, there was a young man here, and he used expression Maya lullaby.
The lullaby of Maya, okay.
Yeah, and this has been all the week in my head. Maya lullaby, and then I realized that we talk a lot about Maya, and I talk for myself. I came to a point that everything was so Maya that I kind of lost everything. And I realize now, and this I'd like that you comment, that Maya is not a thing, but our judgment of things, and that nothing is Maya, and Maya is everything. Because, as you said, and almost everybody read, to get enlightened is just to chop wood and get water. And some people think that's Maya. We consider the material world Maya. And what I've realized last satsang is that it's our judgment. And with all due respect to you, I also have your words. Here we go in our Armani suit. And then I said, I thought Armani suit is not Maya, because a sari can also be Maya.
A what?
A sari.
Sorry.
A sari can also be Maya. It's only my judgment and my identification with that. If I can't live without that, then it's Maya. But if I use it because it's comfortable or good quality and doesn't...
Yeah, but that wasn't the point I was making. You
yes.
understand? That was not the point I'm making. You're making a point on my behalf. It's not the point I'm making. I'm saying, if you are not aware of what you are, if you're not aware of what you are, even though you're phenomenally awake,
yes.
you're still asleep.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's... I was just sharing that I've realized last satsang that yes, it's what you are saying is because lots of people, and they consider themselves spiritual, and they go around being spiritual, and everything is Maya, and that is a big illusion.
Maya is an illusion.
It's so, like you say, it's our identification with things that makes the Maya and makes us asleep. So maybe I'm not making sense.
No, you're coming through, warming up. Keep going a little bit, I'm listening.
Maybe not for the people that are here, but many people outside, they okay, material Maya. So we drop the material, but it's not
the material is not the Maya.
The Maya is the
material, and materialism is different.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yes.
Material is a material. The materialism is something about the mind, about how you regard something. But yes.
This was something I struggled, spirituality and material.
This depends upon the broadness of the spiritual outlook.
Yes.
And the limitation also.
Yeah.
But that is not really centrally what we are speaking about here. Because everything is what we are also here working on the land, doing things. Everything is part of this great dance.
Yes.
So it's not about things. To talk about things get in the way. They don't get in the way.
Yeah.
They don't make you struggle. You're struggling.
Yes.
But, yes. Okay.
Thank you. It was just, I realized that.
Okay. Okay, good, good, good. Please come. Okay.
Too much.
What is too much? Speak.
A sensação que eu tive é que o meu peito ia explodir.
I had this sensation that I wanted to explode. I was going to explode.
Maybe you look at me and then she will translate. And okay.
Então, quando eu pensei nas pessoas, no julgamento, então houve um freio.
Então,
Quando eu vi as pessoas que estavam na sala, aí houve um julgamento. Aí parei.
so when I saw the people that were in this room, there was a judgment and I stopped.
Yes. Okay. Carry on. She's going to help. She speaks more.
Foi uma onda muito grande.
It was a very strong wave.
Speak in it.
It was a very strong wave.
E eu não estou conseguindo me conter.
And I can't hold myself, contain myself.
What is this wave? Wave of what?
Não sei. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's only sensation. No?
Apenas uma sensação.
It's only sensation. We are not to mind about these things.
Não deve dar muita atenção a isso.
Yeah. Because sometimes something very powerful, like a panic attack. But I will still say,
Às vezes uma coisa muito
speak
forte.
so that because there are some Brazilians watching today.
Porque às vezes é uma coisa muito forte, como um ataque de pânico.
Yeah. That there is something which is not inside that wave. It's not inside the wave. The wave itself is traveling through the body, and there's an awareness of that wave, and you are to be there in the place of the awareness.
Mas tem algo que não está dentro dessa onda. A onda está ali passando, mas ela está viajando. Tem algo que não está dentro dessa onda.
Mas não foi uma onda de medo. Foi uma coisa muito boa.
But it wasn't a wave of fear. It was something very nice.
Quando ele começou a falar as palavras, então foi uma coisa muito forte, muito boa.
When you started to speak your words, it was something very nice, very nice.
But yes, but you felt like somehow you're going to explode.
Mas você se sentiu de que de alguma maneira você iria explodir?
Sim, porque veio o medo do julgamento.
Yes, because it came the fear of judgment.
That's also nothing.
Isso também é nada.
We give so much importance. Something feels so nice, something doesn't feel nice. It's okay.
Não dê muita importância. Alguma coisa parece muito gostosa, outra coisa não muito boa. Tudo está bem.
To pay attention to just the awareness itself. I mean, this is all I am speaking.
Preste atenção apenas à consciência disso tudo. Isso é tudo que eu estou dizendo.
Let the feelings happen,
Deixe que os sentimentos aconteçam,
but don't ride them.
mas não pega carona neles.
Because they come and go.
Porque eles vêm e vão.
We give so much importance to what is coming and going.
E a gente dá tanta importância ao que está indo e vindo.
Our lives should not be made up of these expressions or experience sensations, no?
Nossas vidas não deveriam ser feitas somente dessas expressões.
If we don't give so much importance to them,
Se a gente não dá tanta importância a elas,
you will discover tremendous peace is here,
você vai descobrir que uma imensa paz está aqui,
untroubled
sem nenhum problema.
by any waves, bliss waves or terrible waves, whatever. They are just movements in the, you know.
Sem serem incomodadas por nenhum tipo de onda. São somente ondas.
Of course, the blissful waves are much more
É claro que as
to our
ondas
pleasure.
de graça, de alegria, são muito mais prazerosas.
Muito mais.
Much more.
But gradually they become the norm anyway.
Gradualmente elas se tornam a norma de qualquer maneira.
Yeah. What you want to know now, right now?
O que é que você quer saber agora nesse momento?
Tô com medo do seu olhar.
I'm afraid of your
Me vazando.
regard of
my eyes.
Of your eyes.
Yes,
It's trespassing me. It's
No. Should I put my glasses on? Yeah, when you laugh, you're not afraid, you see.
Quando você ri, tá vendo? Não há medo.
When you are not looking with eyes of a person,
quando você não está olhando com os olhos da pessoa,
then what is looking through your eyes then?
Então, o que é que está olhando através dos seus olhos?
Meu coração, você.
My heart, my being,
yes.
I don't know.
Yes. The infinite.
Sim, o infinito.
Comes and goes.
Vai e vem.
Comes and goes. Actually, it doesn't go.
Na verdade, ele não vai embora.
It doesn't go.
Não vai embora.
It's like we say the sun is rising in the east, setting in the west.
É como a gente dizer, o sol está se levantando no leste e está se pondo no oeste.
We all have this experience.
Todos temos essa experiência.
It rises and it sets.
Ele se levanta e ele se põe.
But the sun doesn't move, is it?
Mas o sol não se move.
At least relative to the earth.
Pelo menos não relativamente à Terra.
Is the earth is moving.
É a Terra que está se movendo.
But we don't feel the movement of the earth.
Mas a gente não sente o movimento
It appears
da
that
Terra.
the sun is going down.
Se parece que o sol é que está se movendo.
But the earth is revolving away somehow.
Mas é a Terra que está se movendo na direção contrária.
So it's like this with the mind also. Mind moves in, then it seems like the self moves out.
É assim com a mente também. A mente entra e aí parece que o ser saiu.
Came all the way from Brazil, no?
Você veio desde longe do Brasil, sim?
Sim?
You came for something, isn't it?
Você veio atrás de alguma coisa, não?
Sim.
I want you to get the something you came for.
Eu quero que você consiga isso que você veio buscar.
Buscar felicidade.
Happiness.
Yeah. If you get the something you came for, you won't be able to carry it home with you.
Se você conseguir aquilo que você veio buscar, você não será capaz de carregá-lo de volta com você para casa, de levá-lo contigo.
What it means.
O que isso significa?
You cannot carry it home.
Você não pode levar para casa.
É intelectual, porque eu já sou isso, mas é intelectual.
It's intellectual because I am that, but it's intellectual. Intellectual.
You are that, but you feel it's intellectual. What it means? What does it mean that?
O que significa isso?
You are that, but it's only intellectual.
Você é isso, mas é apenas intelectual.
So you're not that then.
Então você não é aquilo.
I am that.
I am that,
Yeah.
but it doesn't carry any power.
Sim, mas não carrega nenhuma força.
É isso que eu vim buscar aqui.
That's what I came to get here.
Vim deixar tudo.
I came to let everything.
Eu acho que foi isso que mais me tocou quando ele começou a falar.
That's what it touched me the most when you started speaking.
Vim lhe entregar tudo.
I went to give you everything.
I tell you what happened to me.
Eu vou te contar o que aconteceu comigo.
I also had this kiss that came from inside.
Eu também recebi esse beijo desde de dentro.
There's a kiss that came from inside, not outside.
Beijo que veio desde dentro, não de fora.
And it was so powerful
E foi tão forte
that I walked out of my life.
que eu saí fora da minha vida.
I didn't ask the question, is this the play of my mind?
Eu não perguntei, é minha mente brincando comigo?
Yeah. It was like something was just finished.
Foi como se algo estivesse completamente terminado.
Not totally,
Não completamente,
but something was finished. Something I could not continue anymore.
mas
Something.
alguma coisa havia terminado, alguma coisa não podia mais continuar.
Yeah. It's like I'm eating with this hand and someone chop off my hand.
É
I
como-
cannot eat with this hand anymore.
É como se eu estivesse comendo com essa mão e alguém corta fora essa mão. Eu não posso mais comer com essa mão.
And the person who was there like that
E a pessoa que estava lá daquela forma
was somehow transformed. Something was transformed.
foi de alguma maneira transformada. Algo foi transformado.
Yeah. I didn't want to negotiate
Não quis negociar
or compromise
ou comprometer
or have any guarantee.
ou ter nenhuma garantia.
That kiss was enough.
Aquele beijo foi suficiente.
So why it was enough?
Então, por que foi suficiente?
I don't feel that I had a especially nice kiss from God.
Eu não sinto que eu tive beijo especial, gostoso de Deus.
But the impact was,
Mas o impacto foi...
I could not miss it anymore.
Eu não podia deixar de ver, não podia perder mais.
Everything became a surrender.
Tudo se tornou uma grande entrega.
Yeah. All the arrogance,
Arrogância,
all the ego,
tudo ego,
just kind of collapsed there.
tudo quebrou-se.
Yeah. It didn't die,
Não morreu,
but it had a tremendous, punch.
não morreu, mas teve levou uma boa bofetada na cara.
But there was also, I had to go again to meet Papaji.
Mas eu tive que voltar para encontrar Papaji.
Yeah. God took me to Papaji,
Deus me levou até Papaji.
whose presence could somehow finish off the monkey business.
Na presença de quem eu pude de alguma maneira acabar com a macaquice.
So what I felt, many people seem to be deeply touched. They are seeing something. They are feeling the presence of the pure self.
Então o que eu senti é que muitas pessoas podem se sentir profundamente tocadas aí, sentindo a presença do ser.
But there's this loyalty to the identity,
Mas existe essa lealdade à identidade,
to the idea we have of who we are.
a ideia de que nós temos de quem nós somos.
And something is going back to that.
E algo está sempre voltando àquilo.
So you are divided.
Então você está dividido.
You're called by something much more profound, more deep.
Você é chamado por algo mais profundo.
But we are holding on to the past,
Mas está segurando o passado.
to something that has no real life.
Algo que não tem vida real.
We don't have to use our minds. That's why we start to use our minds so much.
A gente não precisa usar a mente. É por isso que a gente começou a usar a mente tanto.
We use our minds a lot
A gente usa a nossa mente demais
when you don't trust your heart.
quando você não acredita no seu coração, não confia no seu coração.
The heart doesn't have a lot to say about life.
O coração não tem muito a dizer sobre a vida,
Because life emanates out of the heart.
porque a vida emana do coração.
But the mind is more in the aspect of in the person.
Mas a mente está mais no aspecto, na pessoa.
It resorts to cleverness.
It
it disguises itself in cleverness.
ela se disfarça em inteligência, em
It's not intelligence.
esperteza.
Yeah. I say that the truth is simple,
Eu digo, a verdade é simples,
but the seeker of truth is complex.
mas o buscador da verdade é complexo.
In satsang, the seeker also is being deconstructed somehow
No satsang, o buscador também está sendo desconstruído de alguma
through
maneira,
discovering authentically
através da descoberta autêntica.
all it needs to find out.
Tudo que ele precisa saber, encontrar.
That's all inside. It's all your own self.
Está tudo dentro, é tudo você mesmo.
Nothing psychological about it.
Nada de psicológico sobre isso.
Sometimes the mind, like we are afraid to be a simple man.
Às vezes a gente tá com medo de ser um homem simples.
We want to be complex,
A gente quer ser complexo,
sophisticated.
sofisticado.
It's not needed for truth.
É?
That's not needed for truth.
Isso não é necessário para a verdade.
It is said that even kings and great emperors
É dito que até mesmo reis ou grandes imperadores,
would bow down at the feet of an illiterate sage.
eles se curvam aos pés de um sábio iletrado.
That is the wisdom of the king, even.
Isso é a sabedoria do rei.
We give so much value to our psychological mind,
A gente dá muito valor à nossa mente psicológica,
to identity,
à identidade,
to our projections,
às nossas projeções,
to our mental acquisitions, our intellectual.
às nossas aquisições mentais, intelectuais,
Intellectual mind.
a mente intelectual.
Knowledge together with feeling works better.
Conhecimento junto com sentimento funciona melhor.
But dry intellectualism is not in
Mas-
service to the truth.
Mas intelectualismo seco não tem nenhuma valia para a verdade.
Okay. Thank you. Very good.
Can I hi for my family?
Can what happen? You want to say hi to your family? Go. That's,
Hi, Muji. You've spoken before about that there are two kinds of serenity or sense of oneness. One is cultivated and one is very natural. And I seem to, in my life, have become like a plant that really thrives well inside of its greenhouse. And when it goes outside of that controlled bubble, it's very quickly wilting. So I could report that most of the time when I'm home or I'm in a place like here in my little house, I'm very happy most of the time and really experiencing joy. And I reinforce this by, controlling the things I know put me out of that. And so when I'm doing something I really feels meaningful, and doing my yoga and having the chai and everything is nice and I'm happy. And it also is important that I have people in my life that I love, and that all of this is very nice. But what happens is that it's not always possible to stay in that bubble. And so when any influences come in, like cultural influences that are annoying, or especially noises. When we were in Argentina recently and we were in a city and I couldn't, there were so many noises and I couldn't get away. I was like really going crazy. So sometimes it's physical triggers. A lot of times it is just like American culture we keep out by being in Boulder because everybody's like-minded there. So, and also with people, in my life, I've traditionally, been a little bit shy of groups because I like the people who are in my bubble to be very my beloved people, close friends, my wife, my son, and so on. So this is my problem, and then we have to go outside of that bubble. My wife then is the one, and my son who suffer like, there's noise, you have to have your water, or I can't stand this, I'm in Texas, or whatever happens, very easily wilting this. It's
point. Very good that you can bring it forward. I wonder if you can imagine a place that Buddha could not go. He couldn't go there. It was just everywhere else is Buddha. But this place, is very cannot be Buddha here, because what would make that happen? You see, something inside us knows every part of the dream and is present in every part of it, untouched. Every part of it. But when it becomes identified with the instrument through which it may taste experiencing and diversity, when it becomes identified with that, it seems to lose its panoramic openness to everything, and the mind develops more in modes of judgment or resistance or preferences and bias and so on. But we are aware of that. Something is aware of this, of all the subtleties, all the requirements, all the needs. And this is a mental trait, characteristics, where things have to be in place and then I am in place. Something is aware of that. So I'd want to say, let's go to the something which is only aware of that scenario and that play, that which is inside the bubble, including the self that is living inside the bubble. There is something that watches that bubble, and the idea of self suffering or enjoying that bubble, but itself is not enclosed in that bubble. And I'd ask to be just present as that, because the bubble has been so drifting in the ocean for a long time, changing shape, and new things enter, new things go out, and so on. It's kind of like its own little climate is floating around in there. And it is always changing, but it is watched from some unchanging space. It is good to identify what is the thing that keeps bringing you, who are the self without boundaries, back into boundaries. That brings in the feeling, now I don't like to be here. It's almost like we are choosing life, strategizing life, rather than just being. That wherever you find yourself is just where the consciousness is happy to be. Somehow, there's a reason for that. Something is right about that, but something is wrong about it. And what makes it wrong and what makes it right? It's something like that. And I remember the story I told about this monk who was living. You remember this one? There's a monk that was he became famous because he says he has attained near nirvana. He's almost attained nirvana. So he's almost become invisible, because so much of the human characteristics and foibles had disappeared. He was so transparent that actually physically sometimes he would be very near to people, but nobody could see him, because he was just empty of personhood almost. So it's said that somehow the news about this monk who is almost entering into pure nirvana comes to the king of the demons, heard of this monk, and wants to know, who is responsible? Who is the ones responsible for this monk who is watching over him? Come here. And straight away 3 little demons come. Boom, boom, boom. Your Lord. But we are. How could you allow this mere mortal to be almost slipping into nirvana? Have you not been doing your work? You see? Oh yes, my Lord, we have. We tried everything actually. We noticed that he was especially good. And we tried to trip him up on so many times, but he always escaped somehow. Also one time he came home from work and his wife was in bed with a local farmer or something. And we arranged all of that. But when he saw them in bed, he just says, "Oh, hello, how are you? And how are the cows doing? Very good, nice to see you. Are you comfortable? I'll lend you one of my warm shirts and everything like that." He says, "We tried, it didn't work, my Lord. But something must be." Yes, but there must be something. No. Even his children, they said to him, "You're a poor example of a father." And he simply said to them, "You're right, actually. I think I'm not a very good father. I think you have an excellent mother. You're so blessed and everything." So we couldn't trip him up. Then also the people were running him out of town, because they say, "We don't want someone like you." People gossip about him, make all lies, but he didn't mind. He blessed them. "Bless you, bless you." So nobody wanted him, and then he was thrown out of town. But he didn't mind. He was so happy. He says, "Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you." He was on his way. We cannot find anything wrong. We cannot find anything that we can do to slip him up. Oh, no. You have to go and catch something. He smells. You can get him. So it happened that this monk was now in a monastery high up in the mountains. And he was very happy. He used to get up in the morning, and there was a lovely Zen garden, a sand garden, and he would just get up and he would do his prayers, his chanting. He would do all this lovely work in the sand, and then he would go and sit on a nearby rock, just in complete meditation. People would come and sit there, and they don't notice him because he was so inoffensive, so empty. So he said like this. It went on for some time. And then these 3 demons were sent to watch him very closely. So as he was sitting there in meditation, they each landed, boom, 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 like on rocks very nearby. One was very close to him. They're watching him like this. But he seemed like oblivious of them in meditation. Then the one who was even closest to him was going into meditation also. So the other one said, listen, get away, don't sit so close. Pay attention. So they are watching him. One day, a wind came blowing through the monastery, and there was a large pine tree, beautiful tree, over the garden. The wind, and a twig dislodged from the tree, and right in his sun garden, the monk gets up, goes over with this look of disdain on his face, take up this twig, then goes and sits down again. So the 3 little demons looked at each other. Okay, so one by one they started to put the foot in that sand. Da, 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 da. And he started to try and correct all them waves. And like this he became very, very disturbed and not at all invisible. Became bright green actually. So like this, these 3 demons found their boon. They were very happy to return. My Lord, we have got him, we got him. So this is what we sometimes ask. What is your twig? What is your twig? What is that which gets under your skin? And under whose skin? Who is so upset? Who is so affected by this? Look into it and find out. And you will remove a seeming obstacle, because your attention will always go to that spot, and you will spend your energy there somehow. And in the moment when you stand a chance to really break through out of all of this delusion, you see, something will happen in that zone, and your energy will go there. It will become a point of distraction for you. In reality, these things are nothing. They have no power, absolutely, in themselves. But they have developed a kind of power inside the mind. They begin to become significant or represent something. And so attention is given to that. As you discover more and more your formless truth, not theoretically, but in the heart you are discovering. But I cannot find any other place for what I call I or me to be, but to be identical with that. I cannot be other than that. You come to that seeing, then all these other things become redundant. They become insignificant. And when a thing becomes insignificant, when all the mental tendencies and qualities become insignificant, then your job is finished. Because you don't have to transcend something which has no meaning for you. If you have no interest in a thing, even the concept of transcending it is completely irrelevant. The more we think from our culture way of thinking, that when this and this and this is in place, then I've created my environment. And what a trap. What a trap. One not needed at all. You see. But the habit of the person, the consciousness in its aspect as the person, will always have something that it needs to have in order for things to be okay. This is the game. And so we become preoccupied with transience. What is simply passing has no deep significance, you see. Pull back into that untouched space. Look from that place wherein you have no identity, and look again at the thing that you say troubles you, and experience what the trouble is. And you see that it fades into oblivion. Nothing. There's nothing such, no such thing. There's no such thing. We make it up. We make it up at some level because no one else is helping you to support that necessarily. You by your own self are indulging in some action, some activity, some event that gives you the sense of restrictiveness, you see. I don't want to even put the attention so much on that because then there is something to do. I want to point you to something that you don't have to do. There's some dimension, we're using the word, it's not the right word. Actually, there's no right word for it. A space within ourself which is not to do with anything about doing. It is effortless. And to each person who is here and everybody looking in, the invitation is this: right now, how far from there are you? Don't use imagination and don't use thought. Actuality. That which is effortless in yourself. Don't give it an image. Don't give it an image. It's not an image. It's not a thing. But that effortlessness, which is alone can be called what is natural, that requires nothing to be done or undone. It has never been stained, never been tarnished. It simply is. It is not a person. And it's not something that you can do or undo. It simply is. Before even the idea of you is formed, it is. Throughout the idea of ourself as a person, it remains still untouched. And when the sense of the person is over, it remains still untouched. What distance is involved here? What distance? Locate. And I want to have some response about this. Otherwise, maybe we're going nowhere. Which is true, actually. We're not going anywhere. But we are not going somewhere towards nowhere. If we're simply just drifting around, yes, let's have the next concept, the next teaching. No. There was a point to it, and there's a pointing to it. And the reason why there's a pointing to it, because it is always here. Even to say these words feels ridiculous and weak for me to say them. Because it is the most obvious, and yes, yet it is not recognized. Where must you be? What must you do? To be in that within yourself which is effortless. Perhaps our education does not encourage us to explore in this direction, because the world has no value of something like that. What value it is to be nothing. Everyone is trying their best to be the best something or somebody they can be. What is the cost of being a somebody? What is that in you which is not a somebody? What is that within us which is not somebody? It's earlier, more pure, more innocent than a woman or a teacher or an astronaut or a doctor or a monk. All these things came secondary. They are not original. What is the original thing? I don't want to ask any more questions about that one. Who knows and are that? Can you go further than that? Everything began after this. Everything began. All our learning, our identity, all everything came secondary. Prior to all of these things. And I'm not talking about prior in time. I'm not talking about 15 million years ago. I'm talking about prior in the subtlety. To whom am I conversing? With whom am I conversing? To what are these words aimed? Which itself cannot be touched or altered by the words. That's my spirituality, if you want to speak about it. Everything else we talk about healing, throw it away, forget about it. Becoming some great yogi, whatever, not eating for 1,000 days. Forget about it, I don't want to know about it. That's rubbish, I don't want to know about it. Yes, okay, they are something. What is it, something? Yeah, a testimony that consciousness can do extraordinary things. Okay, fine. Is it freedom? No, it's not freedom. You have done 1 million mantras in 1 week. Okay, so what? Mr. Proud. So what? Because it has no value to your mind. This is why you haven't the courage to say, you see. Even to discover the truth, you're afraid that people may discover that you discover something called truth, which you cannot prove to them. Because you have more respect for the approval of people who are still in ignorance. You don't want to come to the place of emptiness or nothing. Because, your parents didn't bring you into this world to be nothing. The Buddha was nothing, is nothing. Christ became nothing. Not the derogatory, negative assessment of the mind of the kind of nothing. No. Whatever that is. They are nothing. They are not no thing also. They cannot be captured by any statement, by any concept, by any quality. Everything was a limitation. Everything they can see, just like we can see also. Everything we can see. Why do you need to attach such importance to anything you can see when you cannot sustain unbroken contact with anything you can see? Everything is momentary. Our philosophies, our great beliefs, all of these things, you cannot retain conscious contact with them. Everything is momentary. When I say, what was your thoughts 25 minutes ago? Meaningless, you cannot retain. How much time is given to that which is of little significance, you cannot even retain, cannot recall even. Then what is left? That is left. Like space, that cannot be altered by any movement. That within which even space is itself perceived. Something is pushing your attention back. Taste yourself. Taste your roots. Then whichever way, once your mind is baptized in the energy of the heart itself, what song will you sing? Then you will not be the one living your life. You are life, and the witness of life, and beyond. The most profoundly simple thing in life, the mind finds exquisitely difficult to attain. Rubbish. It doesn't want to attain it. It doesn't want to attain it. It wants to attempt to appear to be. Mind is here to purchase time, to delay the seeing. I don't point in mind is terrible and you are not. No, you are the terrible mind. You became the terrible mind. but you're not essentially that. Nobody can love the mind absolutely. It's a love-hate relationship. And that's why our life smells of love-hate. But that is beyond this love-hate. You see?
Just one very quick follow-up. What you said, I know you said it earlier, not necessarily in this chronological sense, but when I reflect on the things that seem to pull me, pull me away, I can identify very specific times in my life when, for example, the sensitivity to noise was when I was in a firehouse with my father when I was 4 and all the alarms went off. And that was wow. And so then that sort of put that, on top of a pure.
There is a you that you are not speaking about. There is a self, yourself, which you are not speaking about. You never speak about it. And there's a self which you speak about. The self which we speak about was born in time, lives in time, and will perish in time. But I'm talking about the imperishable. Where is that? Is that some abstract notion? I put it that it is the heart of the heart itself, the nucleus of the nucleus itself. No one speaks about that from that. Yes, it is true. What you speak about, these impressions can be there also. And I can listen to you also on this about sound, because myself, many times growing up, you heard something, some big crash. It's always the outcome is something terrible. We've seen growing up, somebody's been run over in the street, or there's some fight, and there's a kind of anxiety that seemed to linger through the growing years. But at some point, through the recognition of the self, it starts to dissipate and to go. And even if it came, it's still not given such significance. It is what we take it to be rather than what it is by itself. Nothing is by itself. It's what you take it to be. It takes its color from you. And as you begin to realize the limitations of these, and that they are nothing eternal about them, then they begin to lose their significance in your consciousness. And when a thing begins to lose its position as being significant or potent or something, it is already losing its power. As you come more again into your not just dynamic being, but that from where the dynamic being issues out of it, then everything to do with our dynamic existence, the person you think you are, the life you think you're living, those become a little bit more distant in terms of their sort of negative impact. You see, because so much is invested in trying to protect our attachments, to not have that disturbed or something, because there is some sense of insecurity inside of that. But the self is not insecure. And it can come to a point where we are so caught up with protecting our attachments, the little space is left to really discover that which is without attachment. It can even feel irresponsible to be so detached in our perverted, cultured mind. You do no disservice to love by freeing yourself of attachments. You see, the attachments itself is a kind of poison. It is not to love. But you are discovering this, and it is becoming easier and easier, not through hard work also. Not through hard work, but through openness. To really say, whatever there is that is being hidden here, consciously or unconsciously, is offered up to the Supreme. That which exists in the blind spot of this so-called entity being, that also including the sense of who I consider myself to be, yes, absorb me in you. Yeah. And something is moving in that. It somehow releases grace, which is also another name for what we are. You see, because the arrogance is removed. And no one can the greatest intellect cannot create one iota of what is unfolding by grace, by the grace of grace. Understanding all of this is also activity of grace. The understanding that takes place in the heart, and when I say in the heart, I mean there's an understanding whereby we feel we understand, but you can say, as someone has said before, I only understand this intellectually, which means what? I don't understand. I say understand. You understand, you understand. I understand. Intellectually means what? It means I'm not understood sufficiently to be touched, to be transformed. I have not offered myself up sufficiently to allow transformation to move inside my being, to remove what is to be removed at the dynamic level. When we come to that ultimate place, then removing, not removing, all of this becomes redundant concepts. But few attain that state. Not because it's way, way, way here. It's not way, way anywhere. It's nowhere in any direction you can point to say it's not in any direction. It's not anything out there. It's here. It's not going beyond out there. It's going beyond here, inside here. The subtlest thing itself becomes phenomenal and is perceived in that. If I say for one moment, don't touch anything, any of these ideas about yourself, the world, what you think is going to happen tomorrow, what happened, forget all about these. Don't touch any self-image. Do you come to a blank? And if you come to a blank, what weakness is this blank even? That which witnesses the blank, can that itself be witnessed? Find out. How far is the Buddha from you? It's a question of distance, physical. It's remote. By what measure is the Buddha nature far from you? The Christ consciousness, the Shiva being, the Krishna consciousness, the pure self. By what measure is there a difference with you? Except the notion we have of self. The notion we have of self also is only a notion we have of self. What perceives even the notion we have of self? And who are the we who have the notion? Is that not also perceivable on some subtle level? I don't know. I feel if it's your time, you will just understand this intuitively, spontaneously. You will just understand it. It's not difficult what I'm speaking. Shall we pass another day? Because something is very comfortable to carry on. Thank you.
It's funny because I never feel like coming up here. And this time I just feel so compelled to come and share. And my report that there is, for some time now, like a total fearlessness. Like there's nothing I'm afraid of. And there's nothing, there was a subtle hiding. And it's not there now. It's not here. And I'm just so happy. And there is so much love for everyone. Like one.
Yes.
And there are no projections. I feel that there is no difference between your heart and my heart.
This is so great. It is rare. I mean, where would you go to hear someone speaking like that? Where do we go these days? Where is the place these days that we will go to hear beings speaking like that? Really speaking like that. Not pretending, not a trip, but who can say like that? That there's a fearlessness inside my heart. That there's a love for all beings without any discrimination. And not tied up in all of this mental nonsense. Just a simple outflowing of love and the joy and fearlessness also. Who is speaking like that? Who is speaking like that? Only when you are empty you can speak like that. Not when you're full.
I love you so much.
Very good. And I hear your words, and I know that they're not just merely coming from an emotional state. Emotions will come, but in the clarity and the potency of your expression, I know that it flows from that seeing, from that space. And it is so beautiful to see and to meet people who are themselves the evidence of truth. Not the speculators of truth, but whose life becomes the evidence of truth, the embodiment of the truth, of that discovery that it is not merely some kind of thing that you keep in your head. You see. How will you live your life? Then these questions become redundant for you. When have you ever lived your life? You are lived this life. Who is living life? Who can take hold of the reins of life? Nobody can do it. Then somehow, how will you live your life? So foolish questions. And every society entertains these questions. How do you live your life? Be free of you. Be you without you. You have earned the right to bless everyone. Dear Muji, I don't have a specific question, but I have wandered into a strange land, metaphorically, and wonder if I have taken the wrong turn. Through inquiry and experience, it has become very clear to me that ego, identity, concepts, and time are not real. I know that I am not real in the sense that I once thought I was. I feel more peaceful and clear, but it is a mostly numb and joyless peace, and there is a deadness inside. I have lost interest in most activities, work, ideas, and relationships. I know what I am not, but I do not know what I am. Instead of seeing myself everywhere, I see myself nowhere. I feel empty and alienated and lost between two worlds. But there's no turning back. Please guide me. In deep gratitude, Jess. Okay. Whew. Through inquiry and experience, it has become very clear to me that ego, identity, concepts, and time are not real. Very good. This is something you can only know through experience, through the experience and insight, through insight. It cannot be known in another way. It cannot be known by studying textbook. It must have traveled through the veins of your being for you to be able to say something with this kind of clarity and certitude like that. First thing. Now, I know that I am not real in the sense that I once thought I was. I feel more peaceful and clear, but it is mostly numb and joyless peace. You see? I feel peaceful and clear, but it is mostly a numb and joyless peace. I would like to understand what is the numbness about it. And the joyless peace. How can there be joyless peace? We will see. And there is a deadness inside. Sometimes also the mind goes into a certain state where it is imitating the being. It's imitating the void also. It is behaving like a possum. It acts like it is dead, but it's really looking up. Okay? Don't identify with that. So you may feel some deadness or something. Okay, momentarily there's a feeling of deadness, maybe because there's an expectation, but there should be something more. There's a kind of peace, but it's numb. So the mind is still in that play. There's a peace, but it's numb. Why? Because something is saying, if you feel peace, you should feel peace in a certain kind of way. You should be peace and bliss or something. So then something is still not quite dead. The mind is still up for business. You are still up for business. The mind is suggesting some stuff. You see, if you are really found a peace, no, it's good, no? But you feel nothing. It's numb. Would you want a peace like that? Okay. Then it is mostly numb and a joyless peace. Yes, okay. So even if it felt like, right, there's no joy, that is to do with an expectation. I mean, something is wrong because your joy, you have a peace, but there's no joy. It's a joyless peace, and there's a deadness inside. Okay, but all these something is observing. What you're observing, it is only itself momentary. But if you pick it up and start to hold it, like going around telling people, I feel dull, dead inside, numb, then in a way you start to cement those concepts and they start to feel it, but that's what's there all the time. This is how we grow the mind. Okay, it's only a sensation for the moment. So this one is saying, Jess is saying, I feel more peaceful and clear, but it is mostly numb, meaning unfeeling, and the joyless peace. And there's a kind of deadness inside. These are sensations. I have lost interest in most activities. This can happen for the most part. Most things that you used to do, sometimes you feel a disinterest towards them. Disinterest also towards work and ideas and relationships. These are natural, phenomenal changes that will occur for a while, because there's a kind of changing over of power from the life that is being driven by motive, by identity, by ego and mind, and now something is moving from, like I say, from manual to automatic. There's a life now which is more moving, it's going to be more flowing, it's moving more intuitively. It's not being moved by a person. Well, actually nothing is being moved by a person, except the imagination of a person. Everything is being moved by the vital force. The rest is just mind, imagination. I have lost interest in most activities, work, idea, and relationships. Well, this will sometimes happen for a while. But I do say to people, avoid forming tight conclusions about anything that's happening. Because the mind wants to do it. It wants to tie things up into little packages and say this is like this. And avoid that. If you don't lock up your concepts, then you're free to use any of them. But the minute you start to tighten up, then you start to have a mind. Let there be mind, but don't have one. So the concepts you can use, but you don't tighten them and start to make them rigid like they are facts. They are not facts. Now you say, I know what I am not. This is good. But I do not know what I am. You cannot know what you are in the traditional sense of the word knowledge. Knowledge in the traditional sense means one thing knowing another thing. And it's a duality. I don't know what I am. All the great teachers, the masters and sages in their life have not been able to say what they are, to point to it. You can say what you are not. But if you say, I am this, you can't be this. I am this, you can't be this. This is not saying I am you. You are saying I am this. Or something is saying I am this. So you cannot know what you are like, okay, I know it. It's not a knowing like that. And when we speak about self-knowledge, it's not this type of traditional knowledge. The knowledge I'm speaking about is the knowledge where knowledge and being are the same thing. What you know in your heart, you are that. Not as an idea, but somehow the knowledge has brought you back to yourself. It's called self-knowledge, but it's not a dualistic knowledge. It's a sort of non-phenomenal knowledge. You understand these things, or am I on my own, or what? You are understanding what I'm saying somehow? Okay, otherwise I stop. Okay. Look again now. Okay. What does it say? I know what I am not, but I do not know what I am. Okay. Instead of seeing myself everywhere, I see myself nowhere. Well, actually, I think this is more true. Rather than seeing myself everywhere, this is something that we learn. That in spirituality, people say, yes, I'm everything, I'm everywhere. You may have that experience, but it will be momentary. That I am everything. You may have very powerful darshan of that insight, but it will not just stay with you every day like that. It is much more natural to know I am nothing than I am everything. Everything still has a kind of quality about it, a thingfulness about it. I am the totality of everything. This is more of an idea. The real experience is that I am no thing, not I am everything. Everything has thing about it. I see myself nowhere. Instead of seeing myself everywhere. Who told you that you should see yourself everywhere? You want to see yourself as the same as a tree, as a cloud. Yeah, you may see that for a moment, that the same consciousness has formed itself into all these expressions, no? Just like you can take a piece of ice, and you can put it into lots of different shapes. One is a donkey, one is a god, one is a flower or something. But they're all ice. The one who knows I am everything knows like that. That everything, all these forms, are coming out of the same essential one thing. That the vastness and diversity of the manifest world share the same DNA as consciousness. That's what it means. I see myself everywhere. Not I am the fork, I am the cow, I am the flower. Yeah, you see? Because your mind will always say, yes, I'm the apple. It never says I'm the banana or something, or I am the potato. Because the apple is more dignified, it's more poetic. The self doesn't know those differences. Better you be nothing. I feel empty and alienated and lost between two worlds. Of course, because you're entertaining all these thoughts. I feel empty and alienated and lost between two worlds. Between two worlds is what? One world, another world. Who is watching both? One extreme, another extreme. Who is a watcher of both? You see? So these are just ideas that you're entertaining, these ideas, and you're suffering from the ideas that you have believed into existence. You see? I feel empty and alienated and lost between two worlds, but there's no turning back. And there's no going forward either, which is a beauty, you see. Be out of that world of traffic, conceptual traffic. Don't get rid of one set of conditioning, worldly conditioning, then you pick up now spiritual conditioning. Become entirely empty of it. The mind is beating the drum like, no, it's not this, you should do more, you should practice more, you didn't get it right, and you are believing, you have a relationship that, okay, the mind tells you something, you believe it. But all of these things, this is the mighty challenge that comes for every human being. So great, so magnificent is the consciousness that we are. So broad is our capacity, more than any other life form on the planet. We have that capacity, that broadness of consciousness. But you have to learn to sail that ship. Everyone is going to have to learn to sail it. It may be not in this life, maybe another life, if you want to say this. But you're learning mastership, how to sail this ship. As I was saying before, the ship of the body-mind. Who can sail this ship safely across the ocean of samsara? I think this was the end of the letter. So please guide me. I just did it. So in deep gratitude, Jess. It's a good letter. But I would not want to read another one like this from her. But this should be a turning point. After you've written a letter like this, if you follow my advice, you should have a turning point. That all of these things that are troubling your mind begin to just drop away. For some people, they drop away in one big clump, and it's gone. For other, a little bit and bit. You keep going back, fingering the stuff, when you could just be finished with it. So, it is good. And dare I? Dear Muji, will the I am being exist after the body passes away? Is there an individuality without separation? After the I is seen as a thought only? If not, after awakening and death in the next life, have I have I to search again for the truth? Esim. Will the I am being exist after the body pass away? Why you want to know that? Find out what cannot pass away. Find out what cannot pass away. Many things are going to pass away. The waking state passed away. Then you went to another state. Then the dream passed away. Then you went into deep sleep. Then the deep sleep passed away. And you came into waking state. Everything is passing away. But are you passing away? The one who experiences all these states, are you passing away? You have to find this out. You are the witness of the passing. Something witnesses it. A very powerful global concept is holding all the beings hostage. The concept of death. And it's a great concept, because the fear of death stimulates all the beings to find that which is undying. We are three aspected now. So the body is our most vulnerable aspect, because it is subject to time. It is born in time, lives in time, and passes in time also. The mind also, does it suffer the same fate? If reincarnation is true, what exactly is reincarnated? The body? Not the body. The body just gets recycled. Is it the pure self? Is that the one that gets reincarnated? The self is like the wind. No, not the wind. The mind is like the wind. The self is like the space itself. Does space suffer from the impact of the seasons? Does the space get cold? Does it shiver? Does the space suffer from heat? Does it get a heat rash? None of these things can touch space. Then even space is housed inside the Supreme. What can touch that, you see? It's not enough to know this as a notion. You have to discover yourself as being identical with that. So therefore, when you say I, it doesn't have the smell of the ego anymore. Then you can bring I to the highest itself. If you are the ego as I, then you will perish as I. The body is not I. But the mind can be regarded as I. The being can be regarded as I also. But even the Supreme can be regarded as I. Because when Krishna spoke and said, in whatever form or name you call upon the Supreme, all prayers come to me. Me as what? As Lord Krishna? No, as the Supreme Being. Will the I am being exist after this body pass away? Is there an individuality without separation? There's an individuality. There's an individuality. There's an individuality, but it's not personal. Why? We say consciousness is one. Consciousness is one. And yet we seem to be many. Isn't it? We say consciousness is one, yet we seem to be many. Are we many consciousnesses? You see? So I want to explain a little something with this. What it means. If consciousness is one, then if I wake up, if the consciousness here wakes up to the reality here, then it should wake up in all the bodies automatically. But we see it's not true. When the consciousness awakens in one form, inside one form, what happens is that it recognizes that it is the same one in each form. But in each form, it must make that recognition. Therefore, there is individuality as an expression of that consciousness too. These are mystical things. We cannot explain them. But somehow there's a taste of individuality, but not necessarily personhood. The divine person, you may call like that, is the expression. So, is there individuality without separation after the I is seen as a thought only? If the I is seen as a thought only, I am just saying, as I just said before, that it is possible for the I to stop as a thought, but the I can travel further to mean the Absolute. When Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj spoke and said, I am that principle that witnessed the dissolution of the entire universe, yet I remain untouched. Who was he speaking as? So to say that I can only be up to the beingness, to the sense I am, is a limitation. It's not necessarily like that. I also for the Absolute. That's another thing. So if not, after awakening and death in the next life, after awakening and death in the next life, have I to search for truth? This is a waste of, this is convoluted. Spend the life you have now while your body is still warm, and use it to find the truth that you can find now. After death you don't know what's going to happen. At least you are alive now. So use your present life now and the impetus, the drive to discover the truth. Use it now to find out all that you can now. Because if I tell you anything about this, it becomes speculation for you. What can I tell? I tell you, yeah, after your next life you're going to be, sort of like a farmer's wife. That may not sound so nice. So forget about what you're going to be. Am I going to be like this or whatever? It's just your mind. And the same mind that will feel delighted is going to suffer later from the same concept. So better be nothing. Stay neutral and empty. Boom. Finished. Esim. Okay. If you have been paying attention, then maybe some insight happens, and sometimes in the energy of the insight, attention is present sometimes, because immediately a kind of burning starts inside. Something is seen, and immediately as it is seen, it starts to do its work, to deconstruct what is not true and start to burn at something. How are you to be in that burning? Surrender and be very, very grateful for that burning. If you stay with your mind, you're going to think, oh my God, I wish I hadn't come to this place. But if that burning is there, don't try to fix anything. Don't try to salvage anything. Don't go to the doctor, tell him, oh, I feel strange, I've got this. No, nothing is wrong. Actually, everything is right. Something is burning, and let the chef who started this thing finish off the meal. He's going to burn something out and leave a very beautiful space inside. The mind cannot guess what the nature and the expressed life of pure beingness is. It can only imagine and speculate. It cannot convey. Each one is given a taste. And so your heart will respond to that taste. Either you will postpone or suspend, or you will say yes to that, or you will say, you know what, I'm not ready for this. This is a mighty existence in all its expressions. Even if you are a child that comes into this earth and for 3 days or 3 hours, it's a mighty existence. To have the opportunity to grow, to feel the growth of your own consciousness, the expansion of your own consciousness, the flowering of your own spiritual and a consciousness, and the deepening wisdom, the insights which waves of illumination occurring. To have the sense of that all-encompassing being, and to be discovering that it is synonymous with your own being. What can be more great than that? Just like space cannot die, the Supreme Being cannot die. Some aspect of ourself is subject to change and to duration, to beginnings and endings. And there's that which is beyond time, beyond change, beyond death, immutable. That also dwells within us. If life is to be auspicious in my way of putting things, it would be to the one who discovers that, the imperishable being. To walk around on this planet, to own a few cars or to have a few houses and to be married 15 times or whatever, 30 children, whatever it is, that is just pastime. To discover the undying, the unchanging principle, the absolute awareness, then you have really spent your existence well. Our portrait as a person, even in life, is not an accident. It is a very distinct move of consciousness. Even in our terrestrial expression is the greatness of the being. Even if you never come to know it in one lifetime or whatever, your life, even as an ego, is the greatness of the being. But to come to know that inside your heart, that ego, identity, imagination, desire, attachments, and the one to whom they belong are all ideas in consciousness. To come to know that is a rare insight. And the one who surrenders to that seeing and is dissolved in that seeing, that one they call Bhagwan. That one they call a sage. That sagely principle is within each being. It is not dormant. It's not waiting. It simply is. But while we are living under the spell, the illusion that we are separate from it, we entertain some mischief. So whatever is your heart's longing, your heart's deepest desire, my wish is that it's fulfilled for you. Somebody will play something. Oh, you want my microphone? You can have my microphone. Give it to him.
Aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. There's nothing you have to do, for all this is one with you. Your heart is already true. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. There's nothing you have to do, for all this is one with you. Your heart is already true. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. There's nothing you have to do, for all this is one with you. Your heart is already true. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the silence of being. There's nothing you have to do, for all this is one with you. Your heart is already true. My love, leave aside this fruitless thinking and come lay down in the
just a quick announcement that today the shop is on the side of the ruins here. It's not down the hill tonight, just down on the side of the ruins. As usual, there are tea and cookies outside, and the donation box is there. Thank you very much. We appreciate your donations. They go towards helping the many projects that are happening here. Also, you can look at Muji's website for the schedule, not just about the satsangs here, but about all of the upcoming events for Muji. Finally, just to honor the silence while you're here. Thank you very much. Okay, so we can sit here for 5 minutes, and after that we'll ask you to please leave the room, have some tea and cookies outside. Thank you.
Okay, so a few people can stay because only we were going to call and speak to the group in Belo Horizonte just to say hello, because they're also meeting small group of people. There are groups meeting around the world, so I didn't really want to say this thing. Anyhow, so I promised I would say hello, and just for a few minutes. So I don't know how we go about that, Skype or something like that. So it was just this. So I don't know if we need to make some changes. I've just made a big bobo. Yeah. Let's go and have some tea and biscuits.